Woo, welcome back, traders. What is happening, YouTube? We are going to be getting into two very important stocks today, and stocks that I want to label as my watches for next week. They are going to be the stocks that I am closely analyzing for potential big breakouts going into next week, because these stocks are absolutely set for potential moonshot if you can get above these resistances. One of them at the end, I'll go over, actually is set up in a way where it can break its macro resistance as soon as Monday. So you know what it is. We got the Bob Ross shirt, happy little accident. So even if we're wrong, guys, that allows us to get better opportunities and learn from our mistakes. So let's jump into the first stock, GameStop, and let's go over the weekly time frame. I know we talked a fair amount about the daily time frame, and rightfully so, right? You saw this close, largest daily close in over 3 months, and you see how close you are to getting a golden cross. Oof. I mean, you couldn't paint that picture any better than GameStop is right now. So this is going to be very, very important to watch day by day, 4-hour candle by 4-hour candle, to see how this develops. Because if you see some kind of turnaround continuation into these gap fills, guys, it is only a matter of time before you see this golden cross occur. Because once you see that golden cross occur, guys, you could be talking $30. You could be talking the top of this macro resistance that we've nudged our head on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now 6 times, up at $40 on GameStop. Seems like a facade, seems like a lie, but the technicals tell a story here, and they're pointing up. They're pointing bullish. So I'm going to be closely watching GameStop open on Monday. Let's get into the weekly here, because the weekly, you have a lot going for the stock. You can see the weekly MACD cross that we were covering since the breakout, crossed for the first time since back here in May. And that marked the end of consolidation into your markup phase when you ran in totality 70%. And this is kind of the 70% metric that we've coined on GameStop back here. You crossed here, you ran 70%, crossed here, ran 70%. History doesn't repeat, but it oftentimes does rhyme, right? So off of this cross, you should see, theoretically, right, based off historical trend, a 70% markup. Where does that take us? Boom! Shakalaka, it takes you straight to that $40 zone that we're talking about, potentially hitting our head on once again. And like I said, I want to preface this by saying not financial advice. Make sure to slap the subscribe button, because we're covering this every single day, twice a day. But going into next week, you should expect some kind of, if you see green continuation here, a cross of the 9-day EMA on the weekly time frame above the 50. Now, when's the time that you last got a bullish cross of the 9 over the 50? You got it right here off of this green doji candle, or this red morning, red spinning top candle, in which bears lost firepower and you ran 171%, right? You could see this act as a catalyst as soon as next week to potentially send the price into those two gap fills at $28 and $30. Above those two, if you, let's say you absolutely slingshot past those two price targets, which I don't anticipate to happen. But if you did, you're looking at $38. If you begin to get squeezy, you have significant horizontal resistance right around that $48 target. You can see you bumped your head here after the 100% run from the previous cross of the 9 and the 50. You bumped your head here, and then you were kind of just rejecting and bouncing off of it intermittently during this flag, right? But this acts, and from all my Neo boys out there, this acts almost as that resistance on Neo right around 771, right? Or 778. This is going to be very important once you get above that. You'll see this price become very volatile if you're able to mount a close above that price, right? But our intermittent targets right now, $28, $30, and then $40 on GME. Very possible with how much bullish momentum you have, and we'll continue to cover it as the week persists. But something that I wanted to cover as well is the monthly chart on GameStop. And this will make a little bit more sense towards the end of the video when I pair it with the next stock. But GameStop, my oh my oh my. Look at what you're doing on the RSI in the monthly time frame. You are beginning to kiss the monthly RSI band. Come on, just do it. Just make your dreams come true. Come on, GameStop, do it, right? You can see you've had this bull flag or channel consolidation, bullish channel consolidation from this mark higher. And you're just now beginning to cross that RSI band. If I expand it here, you can see you already have. Typically when this happens, you see bullish continuation moves. It happened back here. And then the next candle opened up 24 or to 25% green, and then the next 7% with a long wick. So typically when you cross these, the only other time you have in recent memory was back here when you saw a 500% move from the bottom, going from $9 all the way up to $60, guys. That's more than 500% actually. So I'll be interested to see once you find continuation of this breakout into this down sloping resistance on GameStop. Do you find resistance here and then turn around, potentially making the last lower low on RSI and potentially the last higher low on the price, which if you don't know is, I believe, hidden bullish divergence. Yeah. Lower low and higher low on price is hidden bullish divergence, guys. So I mean, having 1, 2, 3 touches of that can be significant for this trend reversal. And particularly with GameStop, with this continuation of the breakout. But none of this is going to matter if you do not, and I repeat, if you do not get a daily golden cross. So everything that we spoke about in our last video is still prevalent. We got to see that happen. But what I have drawn up here is on GameStop's monthly chart. If you're able to break this bullish channel, you should see some kind of reversal into the bull zone for the first time since 2020, guys, when you saw this absolutely maniacal 1,600% candle. I'm not saying that something like that's going to happen again, but that would be the first time you've made that kind of move on the RSI since. So I'm excited. I don't know how you guys feel. I'm genuinely excited to see if you break this, guys. You're going to fill that $73 gap, in my opinion. So GameStop looks absolutely primed. I'm going to be, like I said, continuing to cover this throughout the week because this is one of 2 stocks that I think are going to make a decent-sized move going into trading on Monday. However, our next stock in this list is a little bit more bullish than GameStop at the moment. And I have to say, I just started charting the stock today. And in doing so, Mylanta. Oh, Mylanta. BlackBerry, of all stocks, is doing something it has not done in a very, very long time, if ever. And we'll start with the basics, right? BlackBerry started in a falling broadening wedge back in 2018 when the stock went to 14 all the way down to 268. You saw a breakout of that falling broadening wedge, right? And the profit target theoretically should have been this stretch here. On top, you went a little bit further. You extended further, right? You extended further than the profit target. From that breakout, you created a macro falling wedge that you traded in for approximately 4 to 5 years. You recently broke out and you recently formed a bullish flag pattern while forming a bullish flag pattern on the RSI, guys. This is in the monthly time frame, so it is more significant than the other shorter time frames like the monthly and the weekly, or the daily and the weekly, right? And you can see the longest channel resistance you had on BlackBerry with a tap in November 2007, 2018, and then a failed breakout in 2021, has broken and retested, and you are now breaking out of the flag pattern on the monthly time frame. Right before you see this monthly bullish close candle up 30%, guys. I cannot pound the table enough on how crazy this thing looks. As you've seen the RSI breakout of its flag pattern, very similarly to GameStop, right? You got a breakout, continuation of the flag pattern, and taking that flagpole, putting on top of the breakout gets you to the bull zone for the first time since 2021. So when I say that these stocks are set up uniquely for the first time since 2020 to 2021 with all these rate cuts, IWM, right? These are special plays that only come around once in a decade. In this case, twice in a decade, but you can see how set a lot of these stocks, NEO, GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, costs, look, going into the rate cuts, guys. I don't think it's a coincidence. And if you look here on the chart price, right, you've recently moved 100%. And this doesn't look like it, but that is 100% swing, guys. And you've confirmed a macro inverse head and shoulders, guys. Look at this shoulder. Look at this head. Look at this shoulder. And it measures perfectly, right? If I wanted to take the breakout, it gets you perfectly to the resistance trend that you established in 2008, touched in 2020 of January, right? 2021 of January squeeze. That is your longest term resistance trend. And from that resistance, guys, that is also confluent with your price target of the breakout. I don't think that this is a mistake. I really don't. So you can see that this stock would have the opportunity of going to $189 all the way up to $15. Boom! Shakalaka. I mean, that's insane, right? And to do it justice, I can go to the weekly and I can go to the daily and just continue to analyze this stock. But just look at the moves. Look at the price action here. Look at how perfectly this flag has been symmetrical. And I wish, I hope, I pray that we see one last either breakout and retest so that I can myself look to long a position here, or that you can just reject and come down to this third touch to make 1, 2, 3 rising valleys into a flag breakout. This is an absurd potential play here. And I don't think what I'm saying is doing this justice, because this looks nasty. The breakout of the falling wedge into a flag pattern, confirming a breakout. That is my type of trade right there. So I cannot literally pound the table hard enough on this stock. I'm going to go to Webull and try to outline for you guys just the reason that you've been doing this. But look at the volume here off of earnings. Just the steady, beautiful increase, decrease in bullish volume, and then a pop, a spring above resistance. It looks beautiful here, and you have a gap if you're looking for a short-term trade up here at 740, right? And 740 should be a landmark of very sturdy resistance, because not only do you have your gap fill at the beginning of the gap fill, you have a heavy rejection here at 720. Yeah, 720. So this stock looks insane. And let's go to the weekly on Webull. The weekly on Webull, you are just beginning to see the first mark of a cross of the weekly MACD, something that also marked GameStop's breakout on the weekly time frame. In doing so, you've closed the week 17.81%, crossed above the 200-day EMA on the weekly time frame, and you have every technical indicator rocketing to help support you for potential consolidation here. It looks so disgusting. And you zoom in, you see there's a weekly gap at 850, which is also another technical landmark I'm just finding. Because I am doing this very fluid. I love to chart stocks. It's my passion. So I speak about it pretty fluently and pretty easily, that I'm able to just do this with you guys live, like almost as a, what's the word that I'm looking for? Live, like improv, right? This is my improv. I'm just charting before you guys, and you guys can see the technical levels that I'm looking for. We go into the monthly, still very, very bullish. You see you're above the 50-day EMA and that you have resistance. Where at, right? Where's your resistance? On the monthly time frame, you have your 200 at 1261 at the moment. Pretty in line with your potential price target breakout here, right? So we zoom out. You see when BlackBerry is at 148, you tapped it here at the January squeeze, and you now look so ready. You now look absolutely disgusting to see a potential inverse head and shoulders flag pattern breakout. Like, this is textbook, guys. This is absolutely a textbook inverse head and shoulders. So just take it in, right? Just soak in the bask of this beautiful setup. So this is what I'm going to be watching for going into next week is, are you going to continue and seek bullish continuation on high volume and then seek a retest? Because that's when I would enter. And I can give you more clear levels on this. I would look to potentially enter off of this retest here. Or if you flag out, but I'd love to see a retest of like 460 to 470. That would be key on this stock. Or not the 1 second. That's crazy. Or you could potentially seek to peel back into this uptrend here. And let me get rid of the inverse head and shoulders. Into this uptrend are these 50 and 200-day moving averages, right around $4 flat. That would be where I'd be comfortable with seeking a long on BlackBerry to then take it, even if you're looking for a short-term trade. Let's say you enter $4 and you take it up to that 750 gap fill. It's 82% trade. All you have to do is enter at $4 and then hold a tight stop loss that if it drops this trend, salute. Because I have no emotional tie to this stock, but I do believe in the confluence, and I passionately believe in IWM making another all-time high, GameStop going, AMC going, Neo going. I think it's a unique situation that all these stocks are primed at the same time to seek some kind of basket run, right? So very interesting stuff. I'm going to see if there's one more thing I can cover. The quarterly chart. I mean, it just looks beautiful. Quarterly hammer candle on this stock. Last time you had one was back here. Last time you had a quarterly close on a hammer candle was back here when you seek and saw a 137% run. Woo! So this thing looks absolutely disgusting. I will be watching BlackBerry. I will be covering BlackBerry just as I will be covering AMC, Neo, and GameStop. Neo and AMC, not a whole lot has developed, so I am waiting to see if there are any changes in our hypothesis. But as of right now, it is just a patience pays situation. So thank you guys. Thank each and every single one of you guys for tuning in to the video. God bless to you and your family. It's a beautiful Sunday. Get outside, enjoy the weather, and make sure to tune in for the next video. I love and appreciate all of you guys. Peace. Woo-wee.